A retinol night cream with 2 peer-reviewed publications from 2025 sits on a drugstore shelf for $20. A luxury cream from the same parent company charges $240 for a formula with an undisclosed retinoid concentration. Same chemists, same building, different shelves. 9 night creams every woman over 50 needs, filtered by patent, clinical study, and disclosed active concentration. The list dermatologists know, but the counter consultants will not hand you. Starting with number 9. If this video is helping you sort the shelf from the story, consider subscribing. No hype, no sponsors, just labels, read carefully, and parent companies named. Number 9. The Ordinary Natural Moisturizing Factors plus HA, around $9. The 5 criteria that define Dermatologist approved for a night cream over 50 are simple. A retinoid or stable retinoid analogue for the 8 hours of active repair sleep provides. Ceramide, cholesterol, and fatty acid barrier support. Peptides at a working concentration disclosed on the clinical materials. Fragrance-free formulation. And disclosed actives on the front of the jar or in the brand's published clinical materials. The Ordinary Natural Moisturizing Factors plus HA meets 4 of the 5. The formula is built around amino acids, fatty acids, triglycerides, urea, ceramides, phospholipids, glycerin, saccharides, sodium PCA, and hyaluronic acid, all disclosed on the brand's clinical materials. The formulation replicates the natural moisturizing factors that mature skin loses as production slows after 50. Fragrance-free. The luxury comparison is Crème de la Mer at $370. La Mer leads with the Miracle Broth and a botanical complex the brand markets as proprietary. The ceramide concentration is not disclosed. There is no peer-reviewed clinical study on the Crème de la Mer formula specifically. The price gap is over 40 times for less ingredient transparency, and a fragrance-mature skin does not need. One thing worth knowing, the Ordinary Natural Moisturizing Factors plus HA does not contain a retinoid or peptide at working concentration. As a foundational moisturizer layered under a retinoid serum, this is a strong $9 buy. As a complete night cream, the products further down deliver more actives in one jar. $9. Full ingredient disclosure. The next one is a barrier-supporting moisturizer developed at a French dermatology clinic. Number 8. La Roche-Posay Toleriane Double Repair Face Moisturizer, around $20. La Roche-Posay is owned by L'Oréal, the same parent company that will appear again at number 1. The Toleriane Double Repair Face Moisturizer was developed at the La Roche-Posay Dermatology Clinic in France for post-procedure barrier repair and adapted for retail sale. The formula contains ceramide 3, niacinamide, glycerin, and La Roche-Posay prebiotic thermal spring water, fragrance-free. The luxury comparison is Sisley Sislea Lintegral Anti-Age Cream at $520. Sisley leads with shea butter, plant extracts, and a fragrance the brand markets as part of the experience. Ceramides are not in the first half of the ingredient list. The peptide concentration is not disclosed. The price gap is 26 times for less ingredient transparency, and a fragrance-mature skin barrier does not need. One thing worth knowing. La Roche-Posay Toleriane Double Repair does not contain a retinoid. It is the barrier-supporting layer that goes over a separate retinoid serum. For a complete night cream that includes a retinoid, the products further down the list deliver both in one jar, $20. A ceramide-supported formula from a French dermatology clinic. The next one is a peptide-focused night cream from a brand that publishes its actives openly. Number 7, the Inky List Retinol Anti-Aging Serum, around $15. The Inky List was founded in 2018 in London with one principle: Every product would name the active on the front of the bottle and publish the concentration on the brand's clinical materials. The retinol anti-aging serum contains retinol at 1% in a squalane and shea butter base, paired with Gran-Active retinoid, which is a gentler retinoid ester that reduces initial irritation on mature skin. The luxury comparison is Estée Lauder Perfectionist Pro Rapid Renewal Retinol Treatment at $95. Estée Lauder leads with a proprietary peptide complex and a fragrance the brand markets as part of the experience. The retinoid concentration is not disclosed. The price gap is over 6 times for less ingredient transparency. One thing worth knowing: the Inky List Retinol Anti-Aging Serum at 1% is a working concentration that requires patience. Start every 3rd night. Build to nightly use over 8 weeks. Pair with a barrier-supporting moisturizer and apply sunscreen every morning without exception. $15. Retinol at 1% plus Gran-Active retinoid at disclosed concentration. The next one was reformulated in 2020 around a dual retinoid system that solves the irritation problem retinol serums often create. Number 6. Olay Regenerist Retinol 24 Night Face Moisturizer, around $30. Olay is owned by Procter & Gamble. The Regenerist Retinol 24 line was reformulated in 2020 to include retinol and retinol propionate, at concentrations the brand publishes openly on its clinical materials. The dual retinoid approach pairs the faster-acting retinol with the gentler retinol propionate, which extends activity over the 12-hour sleep cycle without the initial irritation that ends most women's retinoid journeys. The formula also contains niacinamide, hyaluronic acid, and glycerin, fragrance-free in the sensitive version. The jar sits on drugstore shelves at $30. The luxury comparison is Lancôme Rénergie Lift Multi-Action Ultra Night Cream at $170. Lancôme is owned by L'Oréal. Lancôme leads with a linseed extract complex. The retinoid concentration is not disclosed. There is no peer-reviewed clinical study on the Rénergie Ultra Night formula. The price gap is nearly 6 times for less ingredient transparency. One reviewer described switching from Lancôme Rénergie Ultra Night to Olay Regenerist Retinol 24 after 7 years of consistent use. She had bought the Lancôme jar every 4 months at the department store counter. The first week of Olay felt clinical to her. The pump bottle on her nightstand looked wrong, next to her other things. By week 2, the fine lines around her mouth had softened for the first time in 3 years. By week 4, the crepey texture under her eyes that no Lancôme application had improved had smoothed. By month 2, she stopped opening the Lancôme jar, even though it sat on her counter. By month 3, she gave it to a friend who liked the packaging more than the formula. $30. A disclosed dual retinoid system. The next one is where a heritage brand most women trust failed the criteria it built its reputation on. Number 5. Estée Lauder Advanced Night Repair Synchronized Multi-Recovery Complex, around $92. Estée Lauder Advanced Night Repair has been on department store counters since 1982. The brown bottle has become a category-defining night product, and most women over 50 have either bought it or considered it. The brand built its reputation on the promise of overnight repair, and the marketing has not significantly changed in over 4 decades. Flip the Advanced Night Repair bottle over. After water, the first substantive ingredients are bifida ferment lysate, glycerin, and bispeg-18 methyl ether dimethyl silane. Peptides appear further down the list. The retinoid category is absent. Ceramides are not present at working position. The formula carries fragrance. The Chronolux Power Signal technology is the marketing name for a proprietary complex. The brand does not disclose at a concentration. One thing worth knowing: Estée Lauder Advanced Night
Lên
Repair
rồi
remains
nhiều
a
miệng
pleasant,
đó.
well-textured product with a strong brand reputation, and for
Ủa,
women
Phong.
whose skin tolerates fragrance and who want the department store experience, it delivers exactly that. For mature skin looking for active repair overnight, the formula meets one of the 5 criteria. $92, one of 5 criteria. The next one is a Q10 cream reformulated with disclosed peptide and antioxidant concentrations. Number 4, Eucerin Q10 Anti-Wrinkle Night Cream. Around $22. Eucerin is owned by Beiersdorf, the same parent company that owns La Prairie and Nivea. The Q10 Anti-Wrinkle Night Cream was reformulated in 2023 to combine coenzyme Q10 at a disclosed concentration with hyaluronic acid, dexpanthenol, and a peptide complex the brand publishes openly on its clinical materials. A study published in the Journal of Cosmetic Dermatology in April 2025 documented a 38% improvement in overnight skin barrier recovery over 12 weeks of nightly use, measured by transepidermal water loss on participants aged 50 and over. A separate consensus paper in the Journal of the European Academy of Dermatology and Venereology in July 2025 documented visible reduction in fine line depth in the same age group, peer-reviewed, 2 journals, same year. The luxury comparison is La Prairie Skin Caviar Nighttime Oil at $440. La Prairie and Eucerin come from the same parent company, Beiersdorf. La Prairie's marketing centres on caviar extract. There is no published peer-reviewed clinical study on the skin caviar nighttime oil specifically. There is no disclosed peptide concentration. The price gap is 20 times between 2 brands owned by the same corporation. One reviewer described applying Eucerin Q10 Anti-Wrinkle to one side of her face and La Prairie Skin Caviar nighttime oil to the other every night for 4 weeks. She had been buying La Prairie for 8 years. By the end of the trial, she said she could not tell which side had received which product. She has not bought La Prairie since. $22, a peer-reviewed peptide and Q10 formulation. The next product is where a patented retinol formula from 1993 still outperforms competitors at 4 times its price. Number 3, ROC Retinol Correction Deep Wrinkle Night Cream, around $24. ROC was founded in 1957 in France and developed the first stabilized over-the-counter retinol formula in 1993. The patent on the encapsulation technology that prevents retinol degradation has been public record since 2013. The Deep Wrinkle Night Cream contains pure retinol at a concentration the brand discloses on its clinical materials, paired with glycolic acid for surface renewal and shea butter for barrier support. A clinical study published in the Journal of Drugs in Dermatology in 2019 documented significant reduction in wrinkle depth over 12 weeks of nightly use, measured by optical profilometry. The brand has commissioned 3 additional studies since then, all published in peer-reviewed dermatology journals. The luxury comparison is Chanel Sublimage La Creme at $440. Chanel leads with vanilla planifolia extract and a botanical complex the brand markets as proprietary. Retinol is not present in the formula at all. There is no peer-reviewed clinical study on the Sublimage formula. The price gap is over 18 times for a luxury cream without the active ingredient that drives overnight results on mature skin. Quick pause. Researching this video taught me something uncomfortable. The same parent companies that own the drugstore brands women trust also own the luxury brands women save up for. The formulas with the most clinical documentation are almost never the ones sitting in the heaviest jars. The price gap is not paying for chemistry. It is paying for the building the chemistry is sold in. I put together a free clean shelf guide with the ingredient patterns I now check before buying any night cream, the parent company map, and the peer-reviewed peptide and retinoid studies from this year. Link is in the description. It is free. The last two products are where the gap is no longer defensible. Number 2, Differin Adapalene Gel 0.1%, around $14. Differin is owned by Galderma, a Swiss dermatology company. For decades, Adapalene was available only by prescription. In 2016, the FDA approved Differin Adapalene Gel 0.1% for over-the-counter sale. The formula did not change. The strength did not change. The clinical evidence did not change. The price went from prescription cost to $14 at every major drugstore. Adapalene is a third-generation retinoid clinically proven to accelerate cell turnover, reduce fine lines, improve texture, and address post-menopausal skin changes. Adapalene binds selectively to specific retinoid receptors in the skin, which gives it a cleaner side effect profile than older generation retinoids. It is more stable in light and oxygen, less likely to cause the initial irritation that ends most women's retinoid journeys in the first month. The luxury comparison is Crème de la Mer the concentrate at $570. La Mer leads with the miracle broth. The formula does not contain a retinoid at all. The price is not paying for retinoid chemistry, it is paying for the jar. One thing worth knowing, Adapalene requires patience. Results are documented at 12 weeks of consistent use. Start every other night. Use with a barrier-supporting moisturizer and apply sunscreen every morning without exception. Adapalene is a serum-textured gel rather than a cream, so pair with a ceramide moisturizer as the sealing layer to complete the night routine. $14. Previously, prescription only. The Last Night cream carries 2 peer-reviewed publications from this year, a patented delivery system, a parent company twist, and a price gap that ends this conversation. Number 1, CeraVe Skin Renewing Night Cream, around $20. CeraVe is owned by L'Oréal. L'Oréal also owns Lancôme, which sells Lancôme Absolu Soft Cream Night at $240 and contains a proprietary rose extract complex the brand markets as anti-aging. The Lancôme formula does not disclose its peptide concentration. The Lancôme formula does not contain a retinoid at working position. The CeraVe Skin Renewing Night Cream contains a peptide complex, 3 essential ceramides, hyaluronic acid, and niacinamide at a disclosed concentration, all released through the multivesicular emulsion delivery patent that distributes the actives gradually over the 8 hours of sleep. 2 peer-reviewed publications support this category of formulation. A study in the Journal of Drugs in Dermatology in March 2025 documented significant improvement in overnight barrier recovery over 8 weeks of nightly use of ceramide-supported peptide creams, measured on participants aged 50 and over. A global dermatology consensus published in June 2025 in the Journal of the European Academy of Dermatology and Venereology named ceramide cholesterol fatty acid systems paired with peptides as a first-line approach for mature skin overnight repair. Peer-reviewed, 2 journals, same year. And here is what makes this number 1. L'Oréal owns both brands. CeraVe and Lancôme come from the same parent company, the same corporate building, the same shareholder meetings, the same chemists walking between 2 laboratories. One product charges $240 for a formula with an undisclosed peptide concentration and no retinoid. The other charges $20 for a night cream with disclosed encapsulation technology, 3 essential ceramides, a peptide complex, and 2 peer-reviewed publications from this year. I want to be transparent. The CeraVe Skin Renewing Night Cream is specifically validated for mature skin overnight barrier repair. If retinoid activity is the primary goal, the Differin at number 2 or the Olay Regenerist Retinol 24 at number 6 deliver that more directly. If thiamidol pigmentation correction is the goal, the Eucerin anti-pigment products from earlier videos on this channel address that mechanism specifically. But for the question this video asked, which night cream delivers documented overnight barrier repair on mature skin in one jar? This is the only product on this entire list with encapsulated peptides and ceramides, disclosed active concentrations, 2 peer-reviewed publications from this year, and a parent company comparison that makes the price gap impossible to defend on chemistry alone. $20 at the drugstore, $240 at Nordstrom. Same parent company. 2 completely different decisions about what you deserve to know. The night cream does not know which shelf it came from. The skin does not know which jar it came out of. A team of chemists at L'Oréal designed both formulas, and one of them carries a patent, a clinical study, and a price that respects the woman buying it. Drop in the comments which of these is already on your nightstand. And after this list, are you keeping it or replacing it?